Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have a robot that moves just like a human? Well, meet Clone Alpha. And trust me, this isn't your typical robot. Clone Robotics has created something that's genuinely mind-blowing. A humanoid robot that doesn't just look human-like, but actually works like a human body from the inside out. What makes this really special is that they've gone beyond the usual metal and motors approach. Instead, they've built this machine with synthetic organs and artificial muscles, basically creating a mechanical version of human anatomy. And here's the exciting part. They're not just keeping this in a lab somewhere. Clone Robotics is now taking pre-orders for their first batch of 279 units, which means these incredible machines could soon be working alongside us in our homes and workplaces. But before we dive into all the amazing technical details, let me tell you, this isn't just another robot announcement. What we're looking at here could completely change how we think about robotics. Now, let's talk about what makes Clone Alpha truly revolutionary: its biomimetic design. Don't worry if that term sounds complicated. It simply means they've built this robot to copy how our bodies actually work. Clone Robotics has developed synthetic organs that work like our own, artificial muscles that contract and relax just like human muscles, and a structure that mirrors our anatomy down to the tiniest details. By mimicking human biology, Clone Alpha can move and interact with the world in ways that traditional robots simply can't. Let's dive into what makes Clone Alpha tick, starting with its skeleton. Imagine a polymer structure that mirrors all 206 bones in a human body. But what's really impressive is how this thing moves. The upper body alone has 164 points where it can bend and rotate. And just the hand, wrist, and elbow combination, that's got 26 different ways it can move. If you're into robotics, you know that's pretty rare to see. Now here's where things get really interesting. The muscles. Clone Robotics developed something they call Myofiber technology, and it's pretty mind-blowing. Instead of using traditional motors, these artificial muscles work using water pressure. Here's a crazy stat for you. A single muscle fiber that weighs just 3 grams, about the weight of a penny, can generate a kilogram of force and contract 30% of its length in less than 50 milliseconds. That's what allows Clone Alpha to move so smoothly and naturally. But a body needs a heart, right? Well, Clone Alpha has its own version, a compact hydraulic pump that moves fluid through the robot just like blood through our veins. This thing operates at 500 watts and pumps 40 liters of hydraulic fluid per minute at 100 psi. They've even created special valves called aqua jets that use just 1 watt of power each to control all this fluid movement super precisely. And then there's the brain and nervous system. Clone Alpha uses 4 depth cameras to see, 70 sensors to know where its joints are, and 320 pressure sensors in its muscles to feel how much force it's using. All of this information gets processed in real time by microcontrollers and fed into a powerful NVIDIA Jetson Thor GPU running something called the CyberNet model. In simple terms, this robot knows exactly where every part of its body is and what it's doing at all times, just like we do. So what can Clone Alpha actually do? Well, straight out of the box, it comes loaded with 16 different skills that'll make your life easier. We're not just talking about basic movements. This robot can memorize your entire home layout, keep track of what's in your kitchen, and handle everyday chores that we all wish we could delegate. Imagine coming home to find your clothes perfectly folded, your dining table set, and even a sandwich waiting for you. Yeah, Clone Alpha can do all that. It can even pour you a drink, though maybe don't trust it with your expensive wine just yet. But here's what's really cool. Clone Alpha isn't just about doing chores. It can actually interact with you in meaningful ways. It'll engage in conversation, shake your hand, and even hold things for you while you're working on something else. It's like having a really capable assistant who's always ready to help. And if you're thinking, that's great, but what about specific tasks I need help with? Clone Robotics has thought of that too. They've included something called the telekinesis platform, which lets you teach Clone Alpha new skills. Think of it like training a very quick-learning apprentice. The more you teach it, the more it can do. Behind every great innovation, there's usually a fascinating story, and Clone Alpha is no exception. The whole project started with 2 visionaries, CEO Dushriya Krishnan and CTO Lucas Click. Before Clone Alpha came along, they started smaller. And by smaller, I mean they first built a robotic hand. We're talking about one that could actually catch a ball with precision and had a thumb that could rotate just like yours. They also created a humanoid torso that could move its shoulders and spine in ways that made other robots look stiff in comparison. They've managed to do all this since founding Clone Robotics in 2021. In the world of robotics, that's like building a rocket ship in your garage over a long weekend. Now let's talk about what might be the most interesting decision Clone Robotics made, choosing water-powered muscles over traditional motors. These water-powered muscles give Clone Alpha something really special, a gentler, more human-like quality. When you need to handle delicate objects or work closely with people, you want something that can adjust its movements, something that understands the difference between picking up an egg and grabbing a hammer. They're not just building robots, they're basically creating artificial biology. That's raised some eyebrows in the robotics community. Getting a robot hand to catch a ball is one thing, but having an entire humanoid robot that can reliably do your household chores? That's a whole different ballgame. That said, Clone Robotics seems to be taking a pretty smart approach to this challenge. They're starting with just 279 units in their first production run. This isn't them being stingy, it's actually a strategic move. By keeping the initial batch small, they can focus on getting everything just right and gather valuable feedback from their first customers. But let's think bigger for a moment. Clone Alpha isn't just about folding your laundry or making sandwiches. The potential applications are actually pretty mind-blowing. Imagine walking into a factory and seeing these robots working right alongside human employees. No special setup needed. Because they move like humans and understand human movements, they can just slot right into existing workspaces. And it's not just factories we're talking about. Healthcare, construction, retail, anywhere you need careful, precise movements combined with adaptability, Clone Alpha could potentially make a huge difference. The robot you get on day one could evolve into something completely different based on what you teach it. And the best part? Every new skill it learns becomes part of its permanent repertoire. Clone Alpha represents a pretty significant turning point in robotics. Whether or not it fully delivers on all its promises, it's pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with humanoid robots. The combination of synthetic organs, water-powered muscles, and human-like movement isn't just innovative. It could completely change how we think about integrating robots into our daily lives. As the first units get ready to ship, all eyes are on Clone Robotics. They've shown us a glimpse of what the future might look like, and it's looking pretty exciting. What do you think about Clone Alpha? Would you want one in your home or workplace? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe for more AI and robotics updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.